was around. I read the whole book, 9/11 Commission, the 9/11 Commission report. I find it a little awkward that they omitted a lot of your testimony. They left very little amount of information with respect to your testimony. My main concern is that in your testimony, you stated that Vice President Dick Cheney came into the POEC office at 9:20 when you arrived, and he was already there. He's gone in front of Meet the Press, and he said that he was there at 9:38. Yet the 9/11 Commission report puts him there at 9:58 that morning.
9:58?
Yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to read it, but it puts him half an hour later. So I don't mean to ask a rhetorical question, but to the best of your recollection, was Vice President Dick Cheney already there at 9:20 when you arrived?
Yeah, I might have been mistaken on the 9:25, but he was already there. But it wasn't 10.
It was a 9:58. Yeah, that puts him 38 minutes later, which does not make sense to us at all.
No, I don't know how that comes about.
So, and I mean, it goes against your testimony, and it goes against his own testimony on Meet the Press, where he said he was there at 9:38. That's a full 38 minutes. So, to the best of your recollection, he was already there.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think you even stated that you also thought that basically he was going through a shot shooting down order with the young man asking him, does the order still stand? Did you recall that at all?
Well, I was not involved in that conversation. I overheard.
Well, it just was that the young man also said the Vice President the order still stand.
I heard that.
And I think what you stated is you actually thought it was a shoot-down order when you learned later that in fact that was not the case.
Yeah. Well, when I overheard something about the order still stand,
right.
So what I thought of was that they had already made the decision to shoot something down. I remember later on when I heard about the Shanksville plane going down, the Vice President was right across from me and said, you think that we shot it down ourselves? He said, I don't know. He said, let's find out. So he had someone check with the Pentagon, but we never. That was about maybe, let's say, 10:30 or so. And we never heard back from the DOD until probably about 12:30. And they said, no, we didn't do it. So by that time.
I'm very concerned because I read this whole book, and it's 400 pages of reading, and it took a lot of my time, and I read this book, and I found your public, in watching the video on your public 9/11 Commission, you mentioned some very important details, these details that we're talking about right now, and yet they were ominously left out of the final 9/11 Commission report. And again, they cut out this whole testimony that you gave on your experience over there, and literally all they left was basically that you had some things to say, and that's about it. And again, time being was the biggest thing that all of us, on my blog anyway, we've been wondering about. So, and I think this letter was written by a gentleman in Los Angeles, and basically that's what he was looking for, was basically an answer to, the best of your recollection, was Vice President Dick Cheney already there, basically sitting comfortable doing his thing prior to your arrival? And I believe you said yes to that.
Well, I don't know about being comfortable in the PIOG, but you know.
But he was there.
He was there, yeah.
And 9/20,
so was Mrs. Cheney.
They were both there.
And there were other staff there in the PIOG.
Because this was prior to any airplane hitting the Pentagon. That seems a little
This was
before Flight
before American Airlines went into the Pentagon.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you clarifying this. I really do. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Have you had a chance to add Slade while your testimony was? Have you had a chance to ask Slade while your testimony was omitted from the final report?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If this is not an impeachable offense, and if this is not a war crime against our country, I don't know what is. It must have been a tragic realization for our military men and women in uniform to realize that they had been duped into joining the military at a time when they thought they were going to fight against terrorists whom attacked this country the morning of September 11, 2001. What does one do when life drops a ton of bricks on you, and realization alters that which one thought was unshakable reality, and all that one believed they were fighting for becomes meaningless? Many in the world have come to realize that 9/11 was an inside job. Iraq was a target of the Bush White House prior to 9/11, and that some rogue element within this administration has been leading us insanely down the path of global chaos.
This is an attempt to prevent the American people from knowing the facts about how we could have prevented 9/11, and people are covering it up today. And they're ruining the career of a military officer to do it. And we can't let it stand. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican, you can't let a lieutenant colonel's career be ruined because of some bureaucrat in the Defense Intelligence Agency. If we let that happen, then no one that wears the uniform will ever feel protected, because we will have let them down.
Congressman Weldon joins us now from Capitol Hill. Congressman, what prompted your call for an immediate investigation?
Lou, this is so outrageous it makes me sick to my stomach. As a loyal member of the Armed Services Committee supporting our military for 19 years, the intelligence agency took away Tony Schaefer's security clearance. They're now about to take away his health care benefits. He has 2 children, and his salary, because he told the truth. When they took away his security clearance, they said in September 23rd in a letter, you can never see any classified information or documents again. Over the weekend, they sent this box, Lou, labeled Defense Intelligence Agency, to his home. In the box were 5 classified documents. They sent 5 classified documents mistakenly to Tony Schaefer at his home. The Defense Intelligence Agency is on a witch hunt. They accused him of stealing pens.
All right. Congressman?
And this is outrageous.
Why would the Defense Intelligence Agency want to destroy the reputation, as you point out, a decorated career member of the United States military?
Lou, when the story is told, when the Able Danger story comes out, there's going to be embarrassment all over the place. The Defense Intelligence Agency, spending hundreds of millions of dollars, could not do what a 20-member special team did in identifying, through data mining, Muhammad Atta and the Brooklyn cell 1 year before 9/11. Those DIA officials are still in the agency. They're still there working, and they don't want Tony Schaefer to tell the truth. They don't want Commander Scott Philpott to tell the truth, because they're then going to have to answer the question, why did you ignore this? Why did you not take appropriate steps? Why did this information not be passed to the FBI? Louis Freeh this past Sunday said on Meet the Press that if it had the Able Danger information, the FBI could have stopped the hijackings. That's Louis Freeh saying that this past Sunday.
And to be clear, the suggestion is that the Pentagon stopped Able Danger from sharing that information with the FBI or any other agency that might have acted. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It was September of 2000 when it was stopped.
Now, the 9/11 Commission at first denied that Able Danger existed, that they had been told anything about this. That was the first remark from Lee Hamilton. It was the first response from the staff. Subsequently, it turned out that, yes, they had heard about Able Danger on 2 occasions. How do you feel about the Commission and its reaction to Able Danger and the allegations that have been made?
Well, Lou, I supported the Commission when it was established. I know some of the commissioners. I'm convinced the commissioners themselves were never briefed. But what I have found out is that Scott Philpott, an Annapolis grad, who voluntarily went in and briefed a 9/11 Commission staffer in July of 2004, told the 9/11 Commission staffer about Able Danger. That 9/11 Commission staffer made a decision not to brief the commissioners. That 9/11 Commission staffer was working for Jamie Gorelick, who was a member of the Commission, who wrote the famous memo that said they could not transfer information between the military and the FBI.
The so-called wall.
Yes.
Congressman Kurt Weldon, we thank you for being here. We're going to follow this carefully, as are you. We would like you to come back with every development, and we will continue to follow this rigorously.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for your concern on the issue.
How did Dick Cheney force a military stand down the morning of 9/11 when our military generals had always held the authority to order to shoot to kill directives without consultation should they deem it necessary? The Bush administration introduced a change into the chain of command, altering orders which had been established to allow for immediate response to a hijacked situation. Conveniently altered only months prior to the events of September 11, 2001, issued on June 1, 2001, the document entitled chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Initiative 3610.01, and aircraft piracy, hijacking and destruction of derelict airborne objectives directive. Replace existing standing orders for dealing with the shooting down of an errant or hijacked aircraft. Enforce the permission of either the President, Vice President, or Secretary of Defense before defensive measures could be implemented. This document led to Dick Cheney's traitorous, forceful stand-down of the entire North American aero defense establishment, ensuring a successful terrorist attack, followed by 3 large-scale controlled implosions the morning of 9/11. This event became the precursor and cause for the invasion and occupation of both Afghanistan and Iraq.